everyone, and welcome to the Cinematic Schematic, the official podcast of thecinematropolis.com, your home to thoughtful conversations on film. I'm your host, Caleb Masters, and today, we're on a boat. We're on a boat. Take a good look at our hooks on this mother of an... That's right. Today, we're reviewing I Know What You Did Last Summer, 2025 edition. I had to make that very clear when I asked people to do this show. They're like, multiple people, you mean the new one? Yes, they did make a new one in the year of our Lord, 2025. So we're going to start, as we always do, with an icebreaker question before jumping into a spoiler-free review where we'll provide a verdict on the movie, and then we'll conclude the show with an in-depth spoiler discussion. Now, rejoining me today, I guess he technically came back last episode, but I'm going to continue to call him the prodigal co-host and an award-winning Oklahoma filmmaker, Laron Chapman. Laron, welcome back. You have returned from the trenches of filmmaking.
Yes. A 3-week hiatus, but it still felt like too long for sure. So glad to be back, and glad to be back talking about the movie we're about to talk about. So, yes.
I'm always going to remember what you did last summer, Laron.
I actually know what you did last summer. We don't have to get into it on this podcast.
No, we made a blood oath that we weren't going to talk about it on the air. Well, Laron, so excited to have you back, as always. Glad to hear that the production seems to have gone really well. Looking forward to hearing more on that in the future. But let's move on to our other guest here. He is the co-host of an amazing horror movie podcast, returning guest on the show. I know one of Laron's favorite horror podcasts in particular. We are super excited to welcome back Danny Salemme from the How I Met Your Monster podcast. Danny, welcome back.
Hello, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Quite the pleasure. I think I have both you and Laron to blame for this review, mostly, which is great. It gave me an excuse to go back to the 90s, though, and I'm not mad about it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's good stuff.
It's a good era to revisit. I do it quite often.
Yes. The older I get, the more I tend to return to the wells of the 90s. Last but certainly not least, very excited to welcome back. She is, as seen on Good Trash Media, regularly Frightful Femme, horror aficionado, Kirsten Therkelson. Kirsten, welcome back.
Hello, happy to be back. Anytime.
These are 3 of my favorite horror movie watching people we have at the table. I'm really curious about what you 3 are going to have to say about this particular movie and this particular franchise. I Know What You Did Last Summer because, Laron, I think a few months ago, you're like, hey, we're going to cover this one, right? And I was like, well, yeah, I hadn't even gotten that far in the schedule. Like, well, yeah, we'll definitely make space for it.
Yeah.
I had not watched any of these movies in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And it's been quite the adventure, sir. I'm eager to hear what the table says. Now, before we get to our opinions on this movie, I want to firstly remind everyone that if you enjoy these horror takes or any of our takes, our superhero takes, a lot of those last couple weeks, but we also have this. We've got an upcoming review of Weapons very soon, very hotly anticipated horror film. If you like any of these takes, you can head on over to your preferred podcast app, give us a rating and a review. Also, more folks, even though we're still largely a audio-only program, still actually getting a lot of folks engaging with us on the YouTubes, so that's great. Subscribe on YouTube and comment and tell us why we're wrong. I had one guy, Laron, for our... Oh, I guess you weren't on that show, but Superman. Some guy said, I clicked on this thinking it was the whole movie, because that's how long the podcast was.
I mean...
That's what we do. I said we specialize in deep dive spoilers analysis.
It is our brand.
It is. So, I hope you're into it. If you're into that, we're also on the YouTubes. All right, let's break the ice. I thought for this one, I just wanted to get silly with it because, I didn't recall much about the series, but what is particularly notable about I Know What You Did Last Summer is I can't deny the killer has a killer look. He's got the slick. He's got the hook. That's a unique thing that I don't think we get with other serial killer or horror slashers. So I thought this would be fun. You're stuck on a boat with 2 iconic movie slashers. What 2 do you pick and why? Laron, I'm going to throw it to you first. I know you've probably been thinking about this sleepless nights, I'm sure.
Agonized. I was up till 3 a.m. thinking about this. No, I decided because I'm a wuss. I wouldn't survive in a horror movie at all. I mean, I wouldn't be caught in any of the dumb scenarios that they were in. But
definitely not on a boat.
Not on a boat. I'm not getting on the boat. So
definitely not going to the Bahamas either.
No, not now. But I feel like for me, so that I had maybe like a gross advantage. I went with Charles Lee Ray. Chucky, because, size, and then also Jason Voorhees, because water tends to be his weakness. So I figured, I'd have a slight advantage if I just jumped in the water and swam, because I think I can outpace Chucky, and then Jason's probably not going to catch up to me in the water either. So
your strategy, is it to kick Chucky off the boat?
Yes, grab him by the legs, throw him overboard.
And then then jump in the water yourself.
And then jump in the water myself, praying that shore isn't so far away. We didn't specify how far away we were from it. If we're in the middle of the ocean, it might be kind of a problem, but, maybe
if you're close to a beach, Chucky has a tendency to make his way back to home,
That's true. That's true. Maybe I need to rethink this. But no, yes. But these were my thoughts. Yeah.
Important question. Which version of Chucky? Are we talking the original Child's Play? Are we talking the Aubrey Plaza Child's Play?
Not the Aubrey Plaza Child's Play for sure. The modern one would probably be able to. Yeah, there's probably some built-in, flippers or propellers in there somewhere.
Gills.
Exactly.
The one that's just a machine, the newer newer knockoff one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I never saw that one still.
It's fine.
It's fine. It had Mark Hamill as Chucky. If you're gonna cast someone else, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Kirsten Therkelson, who are you gonna be stuck on a boat with?
Okay, if I had to be stuck on a boat with two famous movie slashers, and this might be cheating, and you can call me out for it if it is, I'm gonna go with Stu Macher and Billy Loomis.
Yes.
That's one killer, but they are two parts of one coin. So that counts. You're good.
Yeah. Partially because canonically they're high school students, and I think that I could outwit a high school student.
Their movie references. Look, guys, it's Jaws.
And I also know that they're mortal and killable. So
That's true.
It's a good strategy.
And my plan, I don't know, man.
You say that. We're getting Scream 7 soon. We'll see what's going on with that with
That's
Mr.
so
Stu
true.
Macher. Go ahead.
My plan is I'm gonna figure it out on the day. I'm pretty good at hiding. I'm a pretty fast swimmer.
There you go.
I think
There's got to be TVs on a boat. There's TVs on a boat you can drop on Stu's head, right?
Yeah, for sure. There's TVs on a boat. There's all kinds of things on boats.
I will say I'm pretty proficient at swimming, so I feel pretty confident that if I make it into the water, I'm gonna be okay. I just have to get off the boat. That's all I have to do.
So, and I'm also questioning, if it's Billy Loomis and Stu Macher here, aren't they? They'd probably want to reenact a movie. So would this be maybe would they be trying to remake Ghost Ship or something?
Yeah,
yeah.
Jason Takes Manhattan.
Jason Takes Manhattan, 100%.
Gosh. Oh man, that's a good pick. Inspired. Thank you, Scream Crew. Danny.
Oh, actually, can I read that? That's my plan. I just decided.
Oh, what's the plan?
To trick them into recreating Jason Takes Manhattan.
We're on a boat for 80 minutes, and then we're in Manhattan for 5 seconds.
Yes.
And yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's really just the docks in Manhattan. It's not even like Manhattan.
Yeah. Not
and
Manhattan
it's not
proper.
even Manhattan. It's what, Toronto?
Toronto, yeah. Oh, gosh. What a genius plan. Just convince them to remake the movie. Danny, who would you pick to be stuck on a boat with?
Okay, so I feel like I may have cheated a little bit. I went with Mrs. Voorhees from Friday the 13th and Mrs. Lumis from Scream 2. I always found them to be very sympathetic characters. And then I feel like their hatred for people who killed their children would kind of cancel each other out. And they could just kind of bond over being badass mothers.
You're gonna get them to be friends with each other. That's your plan. I love it.
Yes,
they were mean to your son too.
You're gonna BVS Martha this, but with killers.
I got a lot of shit on our show because every time we talk about these two characters, it's just me fawning over them. Yep. And Zach and Casey are like, I don't think you understood what what happened in those movies. I'm like, no, I understand it perfectly well.
They're just loving mothers. Come on.
Care about their children.
But there was a follow-up question about my plan of escape.
Yeah, what is that? How are you gonna get them to? You've united them. They're a strong force. How do you stop them?
So the only way you can't stop them, but I can save them. So I figured if by escape you mean how would I help them escape? If authorities showed up, I would simply ask to put on Mrs. Loomis's pantsuit and Mrs. Voorhees' wonderful cozy blue sweater, and I would pose as them. And then as they escape, I would die for them.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Sacrificial death.
Sacrificial death. That's a real believer there. Are you, Danny? Listen, man. I love you, dude. Are you sure you're not in a cult? I mean, it's okay if you are.
Well, cult is a funny word. We don't like to use the C word.
Especially in the year of our Lord 2025.
Yeah. I'm in the right cult if we're gonna go.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a valid point. I mean,
We have fun in
we're
the
all in a cult
cult.
somehow, right?
Yeah.
I'm in the cult of cinema.
There you go.
Oh,
yes.
man. Okay, so with this one, I thought I'm gonna put Jigsaw, which is a terrifying premise, but the other one is Patrick Bateman. This is Christian Bale.
Yeah.
And I think my plan is they might somehow, I don't know what's going to bring them together. Maybe it's money. I don't. Maybe Bateman's going to pay for Jigsaw's cancer treatment or something. I don't know. My goal is going to be to turn them against each other because Bateman's all about anarchy and Jigsaw is all about meticulously laid plans. Yeah. So I just have to figure out a way to like trigger Patrick Bateman into going crazy. Yeah. And then while he's demolishing the traps or getting killed in the traps himself, I'll just sneak out and dive off the boat. Yeah. I like blowing up plans. Smart. Anarchy. Yeah.
I love that.
Listeners, if you were stuck on a boat like us with two slashers, who would you pick? You can let us know by heading over to facebook.com/thecinemetropolis. Hang us up on Instagram at the Cinematrop or send us an email at thecinemetropolis@gmail.com. Let's get to last summer, particularly I Know What You Did Last Summer, 2025 edition.
Hi! Thanks for coming! Can you believe our best friends are getting married?
A marked envelope? Could it be cash? A check?
Oh my god. I'm calling 911.
Everyone's so loud! We don't tell anybody what happened tonight.
We should go.
So according to IMDb, I Know What You Did Last Summer is described as a group of friends are terrorized by a stalker who knows about a gruesome incident from their past.
Sound familiar?
Oh, man. I feel like I've heard about this. I didn't think it was that gruesome. I mean...
Fair.
I mean, it's not great, but like gruesome? Fair. I mean, I'm just desensitized maybe. Yeah. Sad, tragic, yes. So this film is the first entry in the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise. This is actually, and I actually did not realize this is a franchise based on a 1973 novel by Lois Duncan. Now, this is the first entry since 2021's Amazon Prime Video series. I did recall vaguely seeing ads for that, but I definitely have not watched it. It did not get renewed for a season 2, so it was not successful. Actually, real quick, I'll keep going. But Danny or Laron, did either of you guys or Kirsten, any of you guys see that series?
I watched it. Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes.
You did. Okay. I missed it. I just remember seeing ads with like honey mixed in with like the marketing, and I was very confused. Am I like misremembering something, or was that like a
honey?
thing?
Like
just
like the
dripping
sweet goo?
honey.
Oh yeah. There's something with that, but it's definitely
okay.
This is like in the universe, but it's not really following the narrative that gotcha. The impetus for all of this. So
That's one of those
really
things,
ran with that.
Yeah,
it's one of those shows that like I remember ads and I remember 2020. I was like, it's like a COVID fever dream. You're like, did that show exist? No, it didn't exist. Oh, it did exist.
It's as much related to the story as the Scream MTV 2 season. You know what I mean? How it's like it has the name, but it's not Scream. You know what I mean? Like they don't even have the same masks. It's a whole different It's just
Kirsten, did you catch this gem?
I certainly did not. I'm so impressed with Laron for having hate watched it. It looked terrible.
It was.
Laron, thank you for doing a service for all of us. So this film, I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025, is also the fourth film in the series, a surprise to me, a fact I learned out prepping for the show, following, we all remember, of course, the 1997 original. And yes, I think we all mostly remember the 1998 sequel, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Not everyone realizes there was a 2006 direct-to-video I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer.
I really wish they would the linguist in me, wants to like, which summer are we referring to? Because like, it's been a few summers. It's been several summers since that summer. So like, is it still that summer? Because I did something last summer too. But are you referring to 13 summers ago?
I still know what you did 2 summers ago. Just doesn't have the same ring to
same
it.
impact.
They wrote themselves. This was never meant to be a franchise. Is essentially what I'm saying with that title.
If they don't have a conversation about that in the movie, Laron, what are we even doing here?
Right.
Like, that was like 3 summers ago, man. Danny, have you?
I'll always know what you did. That just kind of implies that the killer is pretty confident they're never going to forget it. It's not really. It doesn't add anything. It's like I'll always remember. Good for you. Good for you.
Isn't that? I thought that was implied in the movie, but okay.
Parentheses barring brain damage or onset dementia or.
I may have forgotten what you did last summer.
But I wrote it down.
I no longer care what you did.
I no longer care what you did last summer. Yes, that's the final entry.
Yeah.
Danny, have you seen the I'll Always Remember What You Did Last Summer?
I did. I was very I approached it with cautious optimism, as is the case with most sequels to movies that I love. And we always talk on the How I Met Your Monster is like, we're not here to criticize, but I will happily criticize. That was a truly exceptionally bad. To be honest, like I almost feel bad. It's so bad that I feel bad criticizing it because it was so low budget. It kind of reads more like a student film. So as a student film, it's like, it's a good student film, but it's a bad sequel in this franchise.
Yeah.
Fair.
If that makes sense.
We were talking about this off air, but you guys remember the early aughts? There was a huge boom into the direct to DVD market. It was a whole industry that is now, as Kirsten pointed out, everything's straight to streaming now. The difference is none of those people make residuals off of streaming.
Yeah.
So, very bizarre.
Yeah. Weird times.
Yeah.
That we're in.
And I kind of miss the nostalgia, Laron, because you were talking about this. You only found out that movie existed by just perusing through
Blockbuster. I'm like, what's this? And like I said,
there was a third one?
There was a third one. I had no idea. And I was not savvy enough in 2005, 6 to say to myself that if I didn't see an ad for this in theaters, then it probably was meant not to be seen.
We were young.
We were young.
We didn't know any better.
We were young. And it just goes to show like it was a different time when you could just like it's back when the franchise had way more power and like for it's gonna sound harsh, like a C-list franchise, like they should, like, oh yeah, I like those first 2 movies. I haven't thought about them. There's a third one. I never saw that one, and it's got a cool box art. Oh yeah, let's just $2. Let's just try it out. Yeah. All right. So back to this entry. This film, I Know What You Did Last Summer, 2025, is co-written and directed by Jennifer I think it's Caitlin Robinson. So very lady female director. Big fan of that. Don't know much about her myself, but I did see her on the press tour, and she was
super fun
on the press tour. This film, I am going to butcher some names. I should have looked these all up beforehand. Okay, this film stars Chase Sui Wonders as Ava Brooks. Also most famous from The Studio recently, and she's great in that as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
She's having a little moment.
I thought she looked familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. She needs to work on her Wikipedia page when I was researching her. I know she's amazing, but I was like, you can tell that she just broke through because she's like, in terms of like internet browsing. She's awesome though. Love her. Madeline Klein as Danica Richards. Jonah Howard King as Milo Griffin. Tyree Withers as Teddy Spencer. Sarah Pigeon as Stevie Ward. And of course, Jennifer Love Hewitt returns as Julie James, and Freddie Prinze Jr. as Ray Bronson, the last 2 from the first 2 films. This film, I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025, was budgeted at $18 million and opened to a $13 million domestic opening weekend in the U.S. and then another $11.6 million overseas for a total opening weekend of $24.6 million. Not exactly a resounding success, but I don't think anyone's going to lose money when this is over. It's going to be more or less like a break even for a pretty cheap movie if we're trying to do the box office analysis. I'm not necessarily going to get into the Rotten Tomatoes and cinema scores, but just neither of those things are very good for audience reactions. So this movie has been a little more mixed. Now, before we talk about 2025, though, this is again, as I noted earlier, Laron months ago was like, Caleb, we're going to talk about this, right? And I was like, oh, yeah.
And I know that you love me because you did do this.
Oh, of course. Laron, you don't ask for movies every once in a while, but usually it's one we're already on the same page about. This is one I might have very easily would have overlooked. And then, so I'm glad you raised a flag. And it was really fun because it gave me, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember last summer. I remember watching those, but I was like, I know I've seen both of the first two films, but I couldn't tell you a thing about, especially the second one. I was like, I don't remember anything about it, but I know I saw it. So maybe it'd be worthwhile us talking about our relationship with this 90s slasher franchise. And Kirsten, I'll start with you.
What an interesting place to start, because I most assuredly did not watch these films until, probably about 10 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was just doing sort of a catch-up thing where I was going through all of the, 90s and early aughts teen slashers and that I hadn't never caught up with, and that's how I wound up watching I Know What You Did Last Summer and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And whenever I watched them for the first time, I was kind of like, I bet these hit better
in the 90s
when they came out. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I was also watching, I rewatched all of the Final Destination movies at around that same time. What else? I'm trying to remember. Urban Legend.
Urban Legend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which also had direct-to-DVD sequels for that one. Yeah.
Those are... I haven't watched I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, so I can't make a comparison, but those are pretty rough. And I basically just remember being kind of like, well, these were fine, but, there's definitely ones that are stronger from around the same era, I would say. The rain slicker with the hook and everything, that's, fun. That's a good, memorable slasher look. Ultimately, these were not my favorite. I thought it was, good turns for some actors who wound up returning in the sequel. I won't get into spoiler territory too much, but yeah, I thought they were, perfectly fine, but I didn't really have a strong relationship with them because I didn't watch them when I was a kid.
Yeah. I think that's important context. I have a not quite 100%, but very similar experience. But before that, LeBron, Chapman, what is your experience?
That was essentially going to be the thing that unlocks this for me, and I've realized this because the people who are about this franchise absolutely replayed these over and over again in the 90s, and that is, I think, again, the key that unlocks everything here, because this was actually, fun fact for people, I think all of you know because I've said it many times, but this is the first horror movie I ever watched, which is insane, right? It was 1997, 8 maybe, because I watched it on Blockbuster VHS. I remember my cousins were much older than I was, and so they had just finished watching, and I got that last scene of the shower, last jump scare of that. I was like, what was that? And they're like, well, we just finished watching it. And I was like, well, rewatch it with me. And they're like, no, we literally just watched it. We're not going to watch it. And if you want to watch it by yourself, you can just rewind it. Remember that? Rewinding things for the kids listening. Be kind, rewind. So I remember my grandma's basement den area was always like our little hangout spot for that. And they legitimately let an 8-year-old watch that by himself in the dark in the basement with grandma. And I'm telling you, like, in 1997, 8, whenever I watched it, I just remember being like very riveted by this horrific accident that they had created. And at the time, because mind you, we don't have Saw, we don't have, there's so many things that have not existed yet.
This is, I think it's worth noting, this is like late 90s. It is right before we have a huge resurgence
for
like, but like more of like the torture porn. It's like a different. We are like at the end of a bygone era when this comes out. Essentially, right
horror
before we
movies
get to the
are
next
dead
era.
in the water, and Scream revitalized that. And this was a movie that was kind of hanging on the coattails of Scream. I've always said that. I've said that this was. I said in my review that this is. I Know What You Did Last Summer has always been like Scream's like slutty cousin. And like, I feel like that, and I mean that as a compliment, you know what I mean? Like whereas Scream is like satirizing B movies, like in a clever way, like this actually is a B movie with all the bad tropes in it. And so I find this very nostalgic charm with this particular movie. I don't think any of these movies are great, but that doesn't mean I don't enjoy them, so
Yeah.
so I would that's basically how I would summarize my experience with this. Like, definitely had a huge crush on Ryan Felipe and Freddie Prinze Jr. during that period of time. I probably had crushes on all of them, honestly, at that point in time. I still think that the cover art for I Know What You Did Last Summer,
it's incredible,
with the blue and the hook guy in the corner. I rival. I know this is blasphemous, Danny, but I prefer that cover art than I do
too.
The Scream movies.
I already knew what you were going to say. I'm the same. I think it's so beautiful.
It's more ominous and haunting and kind of, but I have read the book because I was like, during that period trying to scour for anything I could at that point. It's a vastly different story.
Laron, I bought that book at our school book fair with the movie tie-in poster on the cover.
Yeah.
And I don't think at that point anyone in the school, I went to a Roman Catholic school. It was very strict. I don't think the teachers knew
what that was,
what exactly I was buying, and that the fact that they were selling it.
Yeah,
I always found that pretty funny.
We know we're in the 90s when you're like, yes, the book fair, where I went and bought the novelization of the screenplay of the movie that I either just watched or I'm dying to see.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that this is definitely, like, I say this many times, like, this, if this was not a cultural touchstone for you in the 90s, it's not gonna have any new converts. You know what I mean? Like, it's just you had to be there, you had to care then. There's no overlap. They don't evolve over time. They don't. So I still just go back to being an 8-year-old watching this for the first time and thinking about like how it made me love horror movies.
Yes.
And then of course I went back and watched the classics and all the things like that and realized, there were a lot of movies before this one. So so that it holds a special place in my heart but I can objectively say that it's a B movie and it's not great, but I still enjoy it.
Yes. I mean, we did just talk about Superman. Like, Laron was not there, but that is also one of those, you're like, I saw it when I was 8 and it was amazing sort of things,
Was it great or were you 8?
Well, I would argue that a couple of the Superman movies are great. None of them that came out when I was 8 are good, though.
Yeah,
but it's a nostalgia pick too. It's still like, well, this thing meant a lot when I was a kid. So this is sort of like your version of that,
Yeah.
Danny, what is your history with I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Well, first of all, I'm realizing why I love this movie so much, and it has to do with Laron's review. I, too, am the slutty cousin. So I feel like that's where we relate. No, honest to God, when I was a kid, while everyone else like in recess was playing tag and football, I literally remember, I mean, it had to have been, it was right before the movie came out. So 97. And I would convince a bunch of friends to play I Know What You Did Last Summer for recess. Like, it was basically tag, but I was very much like, I would frame it. So I had not seen the movie. So I was just basing it off of the trailer, which I was obsessed with it. So I would just make people do things that they did in the trailer. Like, I would, like, the jump scare, that like fake jump scare that Sarah Michelle Gellar has, where she like walks into the slicker, but it's, I'm like, okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to turn around and you're just going to be like, and they're like, why? Like, what are we doing? I'm such a weird kid. I just wanted to like direct scenes, and like, they're like, this isn't fun. And I'm like, it is for me.
See, these movies are responsible.
Tag, but I'm giving you context and meaning to tag.
It's so true.
I'm giving you motivation.
Yeah.
Were any of the people playing tag, was there plans to graduate high school and go change the world via art of actressing?
Yeah, for all I know, I inspired them. One of them's a lawyer, one of them's an actor, one of them is a football player. They're all successful. But no, overall, like 90s slashers, they were just like a really big deal for me growing up. And I think that has a lot to do with why I relate so much with Laron, which is our obsession with the Scream franchise. I think like these types of movies just kind of have everything that I want. I'm not always going for like the grotesque. I kind of just love like a nice vibe, and I love a good mystery. So the fact that there's also this like fun, energetic, not very, I mean, it's grim, but you don't walk out of it like you would walk out of like a movie like Hostel, where it's just like, like you just feel like you were punched in the gut. I also feel like 90s slashers were sort of like the natural next step in fans of Scooby-Doo. And I loved Scooby-Doo growing up. So like I always preferred the mystery and the atmosphere. And I just feel like that is just kind of like that evolution of it. So if I had to like in terms of like my relationship with these 90s slashers, specifically this one too, I think it kind of is. I think we can blame and or thank Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Adult Scooby-Doo. They say that about Scream too. I mean, it's Scooby-Doo. It's all Scooby-Doo.
It's adult Scooby-Doo, and it's nice.
Yeah, they even referenced it in this one.
Yes, yes. And, it bridges nicely into Freddie Prinze Jr.'s future career as Fred and Scooby-Doo,
that I totally actually genuinely forgot that they were both in Scooby-Doo.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's actually clearly subconsciously something.
And I'm confident it's because of this movie. Like, there's no way that's an accident they cast both of them in both movies. No way.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. All right. Well,
producers are like, wow, they can solve a mystery really well.
Really
Didn't
good.
they meet on I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Yeah. They did.
They're still married.
That is the sweetest thing. They're still married. It fills my heart with
an
joy.
anomaly in Hollywood. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What I learned is researching Freddie Prinze, who I guess I hadn't researched that closely, was that he's a huge investor in professional wrestling. Did not realize so is
Dewey. So is David Arquette. Which is so strange.
Yeah, it's very like he's trying. He's like his dream is to like launch his own WWE wrestling federation and stuff, and he's been talking about it for years. Anyway, I've recently finally embraced the fact that I like pro wrestling somewhat. So I just found it very fascinating. I was like researching. I was like, you Google him, and all of a sudden there's just tons of articles about him. Pro wrestling. He wrote for WW was F at the time. Yeah, you're like, that's crazy. Did not know that. Interesting thing about him, but he's a very interesting figure who also is still happily married. I'm just like, my appreciation for him went up pretty considerably.
What's their secret?
Yeah, for real. I don't have much more to add. I would say I land somewhere between Danny and Laron and Kirsten in that. I saw it in the early aughts on like when it was playing on like probably like either TNT or Sci-Fi Channel. I watched so much crap. Like it's actually kind of embarrassing how much stuff I just sat around and watched on TV.
With commercials.
Oh, the commercials. So it's not even like I saw the best version of it. There's the commercials. There's the censorship. But the thing about it is, I definitely remembered watching both of them. I think I might have been the same day. I had seen the first one a couple of times, and the second one, it was like I remember seeing it, but I couldn't tell you anything about it. So it was interesting rewatching both of them, prepping for this movie. I was like, oh, the second one in particular. I kept being like, oh, I do remember this scene. Oh, they do go to the Bahamas. Oh, there's this kill scene that's about to come up. Oh, and that's about halfway through. I was like, oh, I remember who the killer is. And it's really freaking dumb.
It's really dumb.
Really dumb.
It's dumb and yet like the funniest reveal of all time.
My gosh.
Hi, Dad.
Hi. I was like, this is where we're just going to go full. We're just going to pretend we're in Scream right now. That guy. But yeah, I say it to say, so I had nostalgia in that I remembered seeing them, but it was not like I had a particular affinity. It was just like, oh, those are just two more slasher movies that just played on TV when I was a kid. And some of them have stuck in my brain more than others. Like 13 Ghosts is one that I saw the same way and love that movie, even though it's probably terrible. I still love it. This is one where I was like rewatching it and I was like, yeah, I do remember this. It's not very good.
Yeah.
Neither of them. The second one in particular, I was like, what are we doing? And even before I remembered what the full plot was, I was like, oh my God, Freddie Prinze Jr. is going to sail all the way to the Bahamas, isn't he? Yeah. And sure enough.
It's actually impressive how much he's not in that movie.
For real.
Considering like, he's like, okay, so he's just trying to get there the whole time. But
he'd gotten too famous apparently.
The scariest thing in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is actually Jack Black. That is the scariest.
His dreadlocks, yes.
That is frightening. And when in the accent and just everything that Jack Black is doing in that one is terrifying. So, yeah.
He was the best part of that movie. I'm not going to lie.
No, it's amusing.
Yeah. It's also terrible and definitely would not be done that way today.
No.
Yeah, why did they not bring that character back for the for the Legacy sequel?
Yeah, exactly. I will say there is, we won't spoil, but there is one really good nod. That, in fact, was my favorite joke of this whole new movie. It was the nod to I Still Know What You Did Last Summer that we get. I mean, there's probably a lot, but there was one line in particular from Freddie Prinze Jr. I was like, okay. I feel seen.
I get that because I just watched it and I see what you did there.
I see what you did there, yeah. So what did we think of I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025? Danny, I'll throw it to you. What are your overall thoughts on the film?
So this was like the first movie that I've seen that I can like think of where I felt like I may have outgrown the demographic a little bit. That's not to say that the movie's bad. I just had a harder time connecting with the characters, which kind of affected my whole experience watching the movie. I'm kind of isolated in my little gay bubble here in San Francisco with my fellow 30-year-olds. And like literally so much of the movie I spent kind of thinking to myself, like, is this really what I don't know if they're kids, but like, is this really what young adults like talk like nowadays? Or is it deliberately trying to be over the top? So that threw me. But that said, it was really nice to see some familiar faces. And I am a sucker for nostalgia. And you were referencing some callbacks. So I really appreciated the callbacks and the nostalgia of it all. So yeah, that's I'm still digesting it too. Like I just saw it a couple days ago. Right now, that's kind of where I stand. I'm like, things are kind of, it's like, it's percolating still.
So you're like, I appreciate the nostalgic perspective, but also in terms of like the main thrust in the characters, you're kind of like,
Yeah. It was hard for me to relate, and that's not to say like I can't relate to movies where characters aren't my age. It's just there was something about this one that felt a little more a little over the top. And again, like I think Laron and I don't want to like bring in too much of like our conversation from outside of this, but like we were kind of talking about how maybe some of it was a little bit deliberate, and you know, there is like the camp of it all. So I bet if I rewatched it maybe with more people, like in more of a party setting, maybe that's how this movie is supposed to be watched. So I'll leave the door open for that.
So leaving the door open. We're going to talk about the camp because I did not see as much camp as I was expecting to see. I was expecting a lot of, especially, and this is not necessarily the movie's fault, but coming off of like Final Destination Bloodlines earlier this year, where it's like, oh, we brought it back and we know what you like, and we're going to lean into it and make it as campy as possible. This movie did not go even a fraction as hard on the camp as that one. Now, that's not to say that this is this movie's fault, but I just expected a certain degree of silliness that the movie did not. For me, I did not see that. Now, Laron, I'm really curious. What did you think of the film?
So I saw this in private by myself on the Thursday night that it came out, because I was supposed to see it with a group of friends, and I promised I'd wait, and I didn't. And hopefully they don't listen to this podcast and learn that I cheated.
Laron, I've done that before. Don't tell any of my friends.
And I had a similar response to what Danny said. And while also acknowledging that I love the two very prominent cameos that happen in this. If you stayed for the stinger, I hope both of you did.
God.
But here's the thing.
Laron, we're going to have a beef about that.
Oh, good. It's okay. I'm totally fine. But then I saw it with the group, and this is all people who grew up watching it, who went there to see this movie, not because it's a thing that's out, but because they like the other films. And so, and we just had a ball the second time. And I think everything kind of clicked into place about what this is. I don't think it ever achieves the level of camp that it's going for, but I do think that there were a lot of deliberate choices in this where, as you mentioned, like didn't connect with the characters at the first time. The second time, I started realizing that, oh, she's trolling us. This is like someone who loves this franchise, knows that it's stupid, but also loves it and is like, you know what? I'm going to pull some swings. I'm going to piss off some fans. I'm going to do something. Like, no one's clamoring for this sequel at 20 some odd years, later. And so I have really a playground of places to kind of just like go for it and do the things that other things like Scream or something won't do, because they care too much. It's like, oh no, we gotta do the straight and narrow the whole time. She's like, if this bombs, if it crashes, no one's really.
She didn't seem to care on social. Seem bothered by it on social media.
Nobody's really gonna like, oh, how dare you do what you did in the end of this movie? Like it's kind of like they're not beholden to it in that way. What I found kind of delightful was all of the down to let's say the inciting incident in here is so like, okay, so that's what we're so mad about. But that's what I'm saying. Like that degree of like how inconsequential that it is hilarious, because you're still mad about this all these years. You know what I mean? Like, so it kind of has this like, but you know what I mean? Like where it's kind of playfully, affectionately skewering the franchise, but you can also tell that she has an affection for the material, from her youth. And so it's kind of like they just like, do whatever you want with it. We don't care. You know what I mean? Like,
we just need someone to make it.
We need someone to do it, and just, and they managed to pull off a couple of things that I thought were just outright just amusing to me. But it locked into me the second time with that space where I started realizing like, oh, this is okay. So like like all these characters we're not supposed to care about any of them. They're all just pawns in this larger thing about like, haha, look how silly this all is, kind of thing. And I felt like that was more apparent to me on the second time, because I actually came into this thinking we were going to get like a legitimate, like just like, we're going to take this seriously, and we're going to, screamify this in a way where it's like, we care about the stakes, we care about and this is definitely a comedy, if that makes sense, and so when I thought about it as that sort of thing, and not just like a necessary, like, let's continue this story sort of thing, I just think they realized like that's not going to work, because we should have done this decades ago if we were going to do that,
Right.
So that's kind of how I kind of left away.
Just come around to it.
Yeah.
You've come around.
Yeah.
All right. Kirsten Therkelson, what did you think of I Know What You Did Last Summer?
I do wonder how this would have hit for me if it had come out, like 2-3 years ago, pre Final Destination Bloodlines, pre
Scream reboots.
absolutely, pre the Evil Dead sequel as well. Because I mean there's a lot of it that feels tired to me, unfortunately.
I agree.
The way that like all Lego sequels are about generational trauma now. I'm like, what are we doing here? And also, I also kind of had a huge problem with the dialogue. I was kind of like, okay, so Jennifer Caitlin Robinson, she's a few years older than us, right? So probably closer to the correct age for when the original one came out, right?
Yeah.
And it was kind of just like, I want to get like a Zoomer take on kids don't actually talk like this, right? Like this is like an elder millennial's take on what
they talk like.
Zoomers talk like. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just kind of hit weird for me in that way. But yeah, there was a lot of this film where I was just kind of, I don't know. This is so mean. I hate to say this. I was just kind of unimpressed. I was just like, okay, I mean, we've seen a lot of this before, we're retreading a lot of previously tread ground. Who asked for this? But then again, I didn't have the connection to the original material that a lot of people did. So it's possible that it just was not for me. I also wish that it would have leaned into the camp a little bit more and just gone a little bit bigger, a little bit crazier. I think that would have maybe done a little bit more for me.
Yeah, I'm going to echo that sentiment almost exactly. It was missing something. Because the word I used was I was bored. I'll just say it. I was bored a lot, and I'm not here to hate. Like Laron, I'm glad you've had this experience.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I will say watching it in a big group setting, I could see maybe it's a fun movie to dunk on watch. I don't know, but like I just was bored, and I was. There's a couple of things there that I think are interesting, but like I think you raised a great point, Kirsten. Had this come out before this huge wave of other franchises that had come back and had leaned into the camp, maybe this plays a little better. Maybe it plays a little campier than it plays today, where we've seen other movies go so much harder. But for me, I just was like, all right, when does Freddie Prinze Jr. show up? And I was like, all right, I want to see. Frankly, I relate with his energy a lot in this movie. He's got a vibe. I don't even know. He's kind of looks like he's phoning it in, but also that's kind of the point of the character in this movie a little bit. So I'm like, he's just tired of shit. Okay,
he's got a Dewey 2022 Scream vibe.
Yeah,
hot tired dad.
Hot tired dad. Yeah. I was pretty bored, if I'm being honest. I like a couple of the actors, the from the younger cast, but yeah, I never really got invested in the takes. I hated, actually, and I really hated, a strong word. If there was a character I liked the least in this movie, it's actually not the main girl, but her best friend, the blonde who was engaged to two different, who was engaged at one point in the movie. So it's she really annoyed me a lot. I'll just say that. And not in a way that I like found endearing or like a feature. But I would say there's a couple of the kills that are pretty cool. Not necessarily the act of the killing, more of the outcome of the killing that I found to be pretty dumb. that sounds awful. Like not how they did it, but how they staged the bodies. That was pretty okay, well,
yeah, I'm really into the staging of the bodies in this slasher film.
There's some choice. I'm like, oh, they made some choices right there. Well, I mean, Laron, like, how would you compare this to the previous two versions? I mean, because it does have a little bit of a different energy.
Yeah, it's its own. It has its own vibe, and I definitely, like I said, I think that she was going for something that's close to homage, but also like, you know what I mean, like a skewering of the whole thing. You know, like, and I feel like that is a different objective that even the really, you know, trashy sequel, you know, was, even though I think both of those movies are campy now. But I feel like tonally this one has more of an intention to be that way, whereas the other ones are kind of like, it's just a byproduct of the time.
Yeah.
You know, so I agree she should have probably leaned more into the campier aspects of this. There are a lot of shameless like callbacks in this that unfortunately did work for me. but you know,
that post-credit scene, Laron, was egregious. I have to say. It
is so bad, but that is so why that is also, I mean, it's so bad that I'm like, oh man, we are really we're just throwing it all out there. It makes no sense.
Me and my wife, who had, again, she was in the same boat as me, hadn't watched them in like 20. We both groaned when we were like, ugh.
Well, the thing is, they've teased this all press tour. You know, like, is this going to happen? Are they going to do that thing? You know, is it? Or
I can tell you they're definitely not going to make another movie after this one.
Maybe not. Yeah.
At least if box office has anything to say about it.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
Well, I don't know, Danny. Like when you think about the original films, how would you kind of compare this one? Or is there anything you'd like to add or iterate on what Laron said?
So I like when it comes to like why I love the originals, it's for like really random reasons. For example, in the first movie specifically, I love the coziness of the town. And we won't get in. I know we're not in spoiler territory, so I won't give anything away. But there is a reason why this town isn't as cozy anymore. So I get it but it still like kind of takes marks against it in terms of like my experience watching it. It's also missing what I think is one of my favorite slasher scores is from John Debney in the first movie. It is like it's like beautiful. Like it's a beautiful score. So that going into this movie and like comparing it, I feel like I'm way too biased for these like specific little details in the first movie that are missing here, that it's fine as like a standalone movie. In terms of how it compares to the other ones, it doesn't quite live up to it, I guess, in my opinion. But I would say it's at least better than the third. So
yes, the direct to DVD.
Anything.
Yeah. The score, by the way, in this one was done by Chanda Dancy, a woman of color, so that's great. Bonus points there. I don't know anything about her though, so yeah, different composer though.
I just had a similar experience with watching, like I love the new Scream movies, 5 and 6, but it doesn't have the Marco Beltrami score. And it's just, there's such like an identity that is missing. And it's like, like I get it. I see Ghostface, I see Sydney, but without these little markers, it's really hard for me to feel like it truly has like the same DNA.
Yeah.
So
which is why I'm so glad they're bringing him back for 7.
I figured they would probably bring him back. Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah, I mean, you actually raised a good point, Danny, about that. I don't think I mentioned this, but I think one of my very favorite things about particularly the first one, and I guess this one to a significantly lesser degree, is the setting. I don't think I've ever seen another slasher film set in like I guess it's North Carolina coast. It's North Carolina coast. The East Coast, though. East Coast town, big, tall cliffs, windy roads.
Yeah. The opening shot, I mean, like, just that crane shot of them going over that's such
and the closing shot, too.
Yeah, I mean.
It is a very distinct space that I think has potential. And I think because of that, the vibe is a lot stronger in the first film. You also, we'll talk about more in spoilers, Danny, but also if there was an angle for this movie, it was the fact that the town no longer feels that way for reasons we'll talk about in spoilers. And they even kind of go there, but not really. And I mean, I didn't really want a self-serious version of this, but like if there was an idea, even with camp that you could pull at, I felt like they really really could have done that way more effectively, whether it's through comedy. I don't really care. But like the idea that the town was like this, but now it's like this. What does that mean? There's an idea that I don't think they adequately pull that. Not that I'm looking for a whole lot from this franchise, but if there was an idea, that would probably be it. So was this a satisfying revival, though? Just in the spoiler-free context, we'll dive into all the details very shortly. But Kirsten, I mean, again, not attached, but what do you think?
Much like my answer for all of the previous questions, I think it was fine. I don't know. I don't think it was, I guess, particularly satisfying or unsatisfying. There's some pieces there. The actors that they got back, I think, were good choices. It's always, deeply unsatisfying to watch, sorry for using this word multiple times, but a legacy sequel, I think.
As long as you don't call it a requel. We have had discussions on this podcast about that. Legacy sequel.
I don't think it is a requel.
No,
either.
It doesn't. It doesn't really redo the original.
No, yeah. I mean, it definitely, obviously, I mean, the actors that they do get back are playing the same characters. It's for sure a sequel. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. There's like a little bit of fan service in there. It's kind of lost on me, if I'm being honest. But I think, it's doing its best.
Yeah.
Would be my read.
Doing its best. There is a podcaster prominently featured in the movie. That's a thing. I like. But it had also already been done by the Halloween franchise.
That's the thing, right? That everything that's why I've been wondering if this movie holds up differently if you're not in a post Halloween sequel, post Evil Dead sequel, post Final Destination sequel.
Yeah, that's another great example of like that is a cool idea that we've already seen.
That's already been done before, exactly.
Yeah. Laron, how about you? Justified? Does it justify its existence?
It's interesting because I actually feel like, and I agree with you, what both of you are saying about how these things have been done before, and it's weirdly because I feel like the films. It's weird to say that this film's lacklusterness is again the charm for me because it's like the reboot for Scream was a big deal for Screamies, but it delivered on its promise. It had all those things. And the thing is that was the same narrative that the original I Know What You Did Last Summer had to the original Scream. Everyone was like, I like it enough. It's not quite Scream that just came out last year, but, it has its own, like again, like, I don't know what you call it, steamy charm, whatever. Like, and so I feel like that's the same comparison here. Like, this is a Lego sequel in the way that those other ones are, but it's like, it's always it was never going to rise to Scream because the original was never going to rise to Scream. You know what I mean? Like, so it's it's a retread of a retread. You know what I mean? Like, so we're 2 paces behind that always. So your mileage on this franchise is hinging on whether or not you gave a damn about the first one. You know what I mean? Like, so that, and I feel like that has to be a component to your, your cozy feelings with this or not, so. Yeah.
Well, and to your point, Laron, I think that the Scream sequels have a much finer line to walk. I mean, Scream is, as a franchise, sort of a cultural Ouroboros, right? Of where it's just like, eventually you're going to get so far up your own ass that you don't even know how to turn the lights on. But yeah, and so I mean that.
Which is why I hope they end it soon. As much as I love it, I hope they end it soon.
Every time they announce a new Scream,
it's got its work cut out for
it. It's like, go out. We haven't had a bad one yet. Let's just end on a high note, and then we can just rewatch them every Halloween.
Or if you must take a break for 15 years and come back with something new. But like this, like fast tracking the sequels, you're like,
no,
yeah.
Don't Halloween kills my Scream, please. Don't do it.
Well, Danny, how about you? It sounds like Laron says yes, justifies its existence.
Enough.
In that it is a spiritual successor to the original, and in the truest sense, and that it was never going to be as good as any of these other movies that Kirsten has named off. But that you didn't expect that from it either, because we didn't expect.
I don't go to this for logic and all the you know. I mean, I go for this to laugh and see
and cry, to care,
to cry when Jennifer Love Hewitt, the original J-Lo, shows up on screen taking Kirby's role from Scream, but she was supposed to be a professor of whatever. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's just funny that you get all the things that we were asked or teased with Scream, but they're just not as successful in that same way. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Danny, what is your take here?
Yeah, as far as it being a satisfying franchise revival, I think my answer is I think I'll answer this later when we start getting into spoilers, because there is something that kind of really takes me out of this movie, and for it to work, it needs to kind of serve some kind of purpose. Like, was this necessary? Did we need this for the story to feel satisfying? Again, like, I'm a sucker for Scream, and even though you could argue that they're beating a dead horse, I love it. I feel like they do it. There's like a level of conviction there that feels earned to some degree. And this one did feel a little bit like what Laron said. It was like, well, Scream did it, so we should do it, rather than like, we really have something to say that hasn't been said before. That said, like, as far as like things that are satisfying, I do like that I feel like they elevated the kind of iconic presentation of the fisherman in this movie.
Yeah.
He felt very ghost facey and very like
huge. He was very big.
Yeah, there was like a presence there. And I also, again, I don't think this counts as a spoiler, so I apologize. But it's kind of things you see in the trailer. I did like how they, this is a very stupid response to this question, but I did love how they really leaned into the fisherman being a fisherman when it came to kills. So you have like the spear gun, and he even like uses a rope, which I'm assuming needed like a special knot.
He had to be a fisherman's knot.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, cute, like that's fun.
The nautical,
yeah, like they're like leaning into it where I feel like in the first couple it's mostly just like, I have a hook, which is also fine, because in that one
that's like, the one thing that sticks out about the character, that and the slicker thing. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty creepy looking. I've never seen that one before.
And it was an accident. It was just on a piece of ice, and he was like, exactly. I guess this will do.
Exactly. And they kind of set it up in that first one. It's mostly, it just has to do with like urban legends in general, and like the killer with the hook for a hand. So those parts of it, like where they leaned into things and built on them, like I feel like they did a pretty serviceable job.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that you two feel that way. I actually think that there is, if we're going to keep it a franchise, I really think that there's a way you fundamentally reboot this entire idea. The idea, I think, is actually at its core of, whoopsie, we did a bad thing, and there are consequences that haunt us later. We've seen it done bajillions of times, tons of. But I like this, like, if you made it more of like either a Stephen King novel or a John Grisham novel,
more psychological,
less more like a Scream knockoff and more like a psychological like mystery, because it does have. I will say my favorite part about this movie still was the whodunit part of it, like. And especially, I don't want to get into like, I don't know about intergenerational trauma, but like, I like if you were to make the town the character, and it's like this thing, even if you did like this happened 30 years ago and we jumped ahead and now it's a new generation having to grapple with the trauma of this thing these other kids did. I don't know. Like, I'm just saying there's a way I think you could totally start fresh.
There's a universe where you could make this substantive.
Yes.
Instead
and
of
interesting
campy.
And fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's just a lot of like, and it could still be campy even. Like, I'm just saying, like, by making it a Lega sequel, it's like, okay, so we're going to be doing a version of the thing we've seen before. Oh, because that's what you market these movies on. And that's just not an interesting take at this point. So I guess I say it to say, I would love them to not make this a nostalgia, make it like a hard reset, like hard reset. None of the same characters, nothing. but still set it in the North Carolina coast. Set it in 2025. Maybe you do, if you really want to bring back like the connective tissue with the 90s. Maybe there's some tragic incident that happened in the 90s that this generation today is somehow having to grapple with. Like there's ways to do it that I think that could be cool.
What they tried to do with Haddingville in Halloween, like with the towns traumatized by all these, they didn't do it successfully.
No, they did not. They were so close.
But the kernel of an idea was there. It's
a great idea that they just
this town is
traumatized
over time from this incident.
And there's another universe where the script for
the Halloween movies are actually a masterpiece.
Yeah, absolutely.
And somehow they had,
or where this script picks up where Halloween left off, and actually takes it the more interesting direction and explores that more.
Yes, 100%. Thank you. You said that so eloquently, but that's where I was going. So no, I don't think this revival was necessary. Again, I'm not the target. I'm not the mark, but this was very bad, in my opinion. Bad enough for us to get to letter grades. And I'll kick us off. I'm not going to give it a full F because I did love seeing the OG, mostly Freddie Prinze Jr., but also Jennifer Love Hewitt come back. I did like the whodunit, even though I figured out about a third of the way through who I was pretty sure it was. Still love that component, the playfulness of like who's in the room at this time. That stuff was kind of fun. So I'll give it a D. D, solid, down the middle, not a D minus, not a D plus, just a D. So that's technically passing, I guess.
60%.
D's get degrees.
65%? 62?
What's the lowest I can do before it's not a minus? A 62? I think it's a 62 because I give it a 62. It's not a D minus. It's a half a point higher than a D minus. Okay. All right. Danny, what letter grade would you give this film?
So I thought I was being all clever and I had like a cute little response, and then I realized it's a spoiler. So
no,
I'll save it. I'll reveal it later, and we'll all fake laugh and pretend it was worth waiting for.
What are you waiting for? No, sorry.
Yes, thank you. This is tough because I did feel I felt kind of middle of the road with this one. But I'm trying to take myself out of it a little bit, and I'm trying to see if would this be successful to the target audience?
But who is the target audience? Aren't you the target audience?
That's the thing. I thought I was all this time, and then I walked in and I had no idea what these people were talking about. I don't know, someone described something as fire, and I was like, oh, I know that's like a thing, and I'm not I know that means good, but I was like, oh no, I've never used that except to describe actual physical fire.
Usually you do it in emojis, you don't say it out loud.
Yeah. This movie is like a walking, talking. This is the emoji movie, essentially. It's the emoji movie of slashers.
It's a bad movie.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna stick with my grade, and then I'll again stupidly, unsatisfyingly explain it later. I'll give it a B.
A B. That's pretty generous. I think a B. That's a you could get a degree with the B. So there you go.
There are a lot of B students.
Yeah. Laron Chapman, definitely not one of them. He's definitely an A student.
I was an A student. I was an A student. No,
as an A student though, what letter grade would you give this film?
That's so surprising that you gave it a B, because even objectively, I have to give this a B minus. Just say that to myself.
I'm gonna go B minus. I was between C plus and a B minus, and then I was like, let's average it up. But I'm gonna copy Laron. B minus.
It's a B minus for what it is. Not like a B minus that I would give another movie that is objectively better. Does that make sense?
There's another movie that's a B minus. You're like, but that's a.
It's like you gave Eddington a B minus, and it's like. Eddington has its problems, but there's definitely more craft on display there. If that makes sense, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So let's put this in context of this movie,
of what this movie's trying to do. It's a B minus at what it's trying to do.
At what it's trying to do, it's a B minus. Yeah. Enjoyable enough for me, not one I need to just put on to just vibe to, but gave me little things, little pieces, little morsels of things that I had missed from this franchise that they did bring back here in some fashion. So. Mm-hmm. It's the cherry cola Slurpee, you know what I mean?
Cola
or the icy icy. You know what I mean? Like there's that thing you like that's like, oh, those little sour little things you used to put on your tongue, like the little goopy stuff. Like none of that shit's good. But
what were those? The dipsticks? What are those called?
Yeah.
Fun dip. There we go. It's the fun dip.
Terrible candy. But we had fun with it when we were kids. Yeah. So.
Oh gosh, fun dipping we did. Kirsten, what letter grade would you give this film?
I'm going to give this film a C- parentheses copied someone else's homework. I'm docking at points for being, I'm so sorry, slightly more than slightly unoriginal.
Great. Yeah.
You're like copied someone else's homework, so technically actually gets thrown out. But if I was to pretend it wasn't copying someone's homework, it's a C-.
It was fun enough. Honestly, I think it kind of boosted my enjoyment a little bit of it, just because I went in being like, I'm going to be bored in this. So I'm glad, at least to Caleb's point, at least I wasn't bored. Sorry that you were, but.
I was bored for very long stretches of time, but I'm glad you weren't. I'm glad none of you, it didn't seem like any of you guys were as bored as I was. There were some, and there's one sequence in particular that we will not spoil that I actually thought was really well done. So
it's got some stuff going for us. Yeah. It cooks at points. Like there are points where I was in my head, I was just like, oh, this is like actually kind of cool. Like this is, I'm locked in for this. But
and then the next scene happens.
I wish there were more moments like. I wish the whole movie would have been moments like that.
Yeah, there we go.
What are you gonna do?
So I would say, listeners, this is a pretty lukewarm. Generally lukewarm, unless you're a fan. Then it's like moderately hot if you're a fan. Review. So take that all with a grain of salt.
It's fire.
It's fire.
That is so fire.
Fire emoji.
Oh my gosh.
Guys, you sound 90 years old.
It's gosh. Fire, Diva.
Slay.
Guys, this is
gentrification was my favorite word in this script.
This whole conversation is so cringe.
Okay. I think it's based actually.
Oh God. Where are the old now? Okay. Well, I got good news for you listeners. Even though you're getting whatever this review is of this movie, there are other things you can watch, read, play, or consume, whichever form of digesting the media out there. So, Danny, I'll throw it to you first. What alternate media recommendation would you give for people who are even moderately interested? And I know what you did last summer, 2025.
So, I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum. I think Scream is the obvious pick. But if we wanted to go a little deeper, I've lately been exploring Giallo films. Yeah. So I think if you like the mystery whodunitness of it all, a few that I really enjoy, I think they're all Argento. So I'm not really stretching too far, but The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, love that movie quite a bit, actually. And I really liked Deep Red, and just recently I watched Tenebrae.
Yeah, great time.
Yeah, really fun. Really, like, talk about like specific moments that are just fantastic, like visually fantastic, and then the music and everything about it is just very. Argento movies are kind of, I guess, like a lot of Italian horror movies in general are have this like dreamy aesthetic to it. So it feels very uncomfortable watching it. But I think that's just what makes them so special. Also, there are some. If you, I don't know, like want to explore some non-Dario Argento, Giallo movies. I guess these are more Giallo inspired, but I really enjoy De Palma's. There's Dressed to Kill, and I guess Blowout kind of counts. It's a little bit more like political thriller, but I really love Blowout. And also, this is if you want something just kind of newer, this one leans more supernatural. I don't think that's a spoiler, is Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho. There's some really fun Giallo-y kind of things going on in there with the whole mystery element.
There's some good sequences in that one. Yeah.
You've such good sequences. I mean, Edgar Wright, like, God, he has so much fun. You can just tell he has a lot of fun. I can imagine. I've never read actually an Edgar Wright script, but I really want to, because he directs his movies with such like a crazy, frenetic energy that I'm really curious to see how, since he's writing them, like how he translates that from the page. Because it is like a ride. It is. I mean, just watch any of his movies. Like, I think he's kind of really famous for the editing. Yeah, he's like really quick with cuts. Shaun of the Dead, that little trilogy that he did. So yeah, I think you would have some fun, maybe even in that order that I listed those movies off. Maybe go in that order, roughly. I think that would be an enjoyable experience.
Enjoyable experience. Edgar Wright. It's a great time. Got Running Man coming out later this year. It's a good time to rewatch his stuff. And that, the wrong way, I haven't had a chance to talk about it on the show, but that trailer was extremely surprisingly exciting. So, great time to revisit Edgar Wright, including Last Night in Soho. I think I've had enough distance now that now that I know what that movie is, I think I could probably go back and appreciate it a little more. I had probably overinflated expectations on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kirsten Therkelson, what would you recommend to go instead of or alongside? I know what you did last summer.
To sort of piggyback off of the whodunit sort of vein, Clue.
Yes. Talk about fun camp.
One of the funniest, one of the funnest, campiest whodunits, in my opinion. That movie is, it's getting more recognition now, I think, but I think it's underrated still severely. It's got Tim Curry. It's got, just some of the best acting in it. Not even just from him, but from the entire cast that you've ever seen. Very, very fun movie. Very fun whodunit. And then if you want to go more of the nostalgic, legacy-quel route, I recommend Final Destination Bloodlines. And you know what? Don't go in if you haven't seen any of the Final Destination movies. Guess what? They are almost all entirely worth your time.
Yes.
Yes. Just go ahead, binge watch all of the Final Destination movies and then go see Final Destination Blood. Actually, skip the Final Destination.
I was going to say the fourth one we can drop.
It's the fourth entry in the series. It doesn't take place within the canon. There's no tie-in at all. It's mostly a 3D cash grab.
And the 3D has aged so poorly.
Yeah. Very, very poorly. So skip the Final Destination, I think.
But all the other ones, there's something to take away.
All killer, no filler.
All killer, no filler. Yeah. Me and my wife, with 4 Bloodlines, revisited all of them. And yes, other than 4, they are quite a delight. In particular, that fifth one is so silly.
Fifth one cooks so hard.
It's so good.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. All right, Laron, Chapman, what you got? What you recommend?
Yeah, so you guys went Giallo. You went recently. I was trying to think of something that reminded me specifically of this. Is for me a movie that I did not like when it came out, and then watched it again with a better palate, and this is way better than I remember it being. Was Valentine horror movie from 2001 or 2, maybe, I think. And it was one I remember watching, thinking and then seeing it now, I was like, this was actually really clever, and there's a twist ending to it that actually made me smile a little bit. And if we're dealing with teenagers that did something horrible in the past and it's coming back to haunt them in there.
This is Valentine, not My Bloody Valentine.
Not My Bloody Valentine.
Okay.
Valentine, I think it has Denise Richards, Marley Shelton.
David Boreanaz.
Yes. It's a fun slasher, definitely playing in with themes it's Valentine's Day, so a Cupid mask, and then lots of interesting ways to die around the holiday. Another one that I think is shittier and definitely knows that it's camp and is having a good time. A movie, again, I didn't like when it came out. Watched it again during a Halloween rewatch just to put things on, and was like, this is a lot more fun than I thought it was. With Sorority Row.
Oh my god!
Another one. It's super bad, but it's also knows that it's super bad.
Haven't thought about that movie.
I've still never seen it.
You've never seen it? Okay, yeah.
No, I want to.
It is a treasure trove.
It's a treasure trove of silliness. Yes. Yeah. So those feel more aligned. I think Valentine is a little more polished, but I think that both of those are definitely dealing with we did something horrible to somebody, and that person is coming back to do something horrible to us and make us rue the day that we did that thing. So, yeah.
You guys have said way better picks than mine. I was going to go old school, some old school John Huston's Maltese Falcon. If you're going to go for a classic whodunit, a little bit of noir, throw it in there. If classing it up, mostly I was like, what's one that's not obvious, maybe for folks who are not horror fans? I'm also going to toss in the video game The Quarry, which is it's not apples to apples, but there is there's this bad, stupid thing these people do at the beginning, and it actually kind of sets off this chain of events that leads to a pretty fun time video gaming, and it's got a little bit of David Arquette, Scream, not I Know What You Did Last Summer, but it's got a lot of the energy that I was looking for in this movie.
Ted Raimi too.
He's so good in that game too, man.
Lance Henriksen. That's a good cast in that game. It is so fun.
I've actually played this game, so I had a good time with it as well. Yeah.
I haven't played it in a few years. I'm like waiting to like dust off because I think I got the second best ending. I'm like, I need to forget more of the game. So
if you like The Quarry, have you ever watched The Quarry? Have you ever watched any or played any of the other
Dark Anthology?
The Dark Picture. Yeah. Have you played those?
Oh yeah, this last year, me and my wife played all of them. Yeah, and also we played the re-release for Until Dawn just a few months ago.
I've still never played. That's the one that I haven't. I feel like that's the one that everyone says.
Forget the movie. Forget the movie. Pretend it doesn't exist. The game is fantastic. It's the predecessor to The Quarry, essentially. It's like the same thing. It's so good. I just heard that developer got hit with more layoffs this last week, and I'm please stay alive. I need you to make more games.
The next game got pushed.
It's like, it's like 2026, and it's already been delayed a couple times too. So
I'll also I'll make a caveat for our listeners. I am not a gamer, and I have played those games. So please give those a try, even if you're like, oh well, I'm not really much of like a console gamer or any. Neither am I. And I made it through both of those games.
It's very like cinematic. Like you really are like, it's kind of like
why I enjoy
choose
them.
your own
very
adventure.
player-friendly.
Kind of. Yeah.
All you have to do is just hit a couple buttons and then make choices. And
it's a lot of choices.
There's a narrative as opposed to just crash bang boom. It's like there's an investment in a story and characters.
Yes.
So if you like
there's a narrative and
you get like
you
so
can
many
make it move forward even if you're bad at gaming.
Yes. Either way, decisions.
And there are like multiple endings too, which is great.
Multiple endings. Yeah. And I would say too, it's. If you can, playing it by yourself, sure, it's fun. But like seriously, if you can, whether it's your significant other or a small group of friends playing that, even though it's a single controller game, like just everyone kind of feeds off each other. Like go, no, go this way, go that way. Like it's just a super fun time playing with other people in the room. So yeah, check those out. All right, real important question here. Not really so much for me. I feel like my opinion here is pretty worthless. But Danny, I'm going to throw it to you first. How would you rank the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies that you have seen? Let's start worst to best. So the
worst
weakest
to
one.
best.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst has to go to 3. It's tough. It's a really tough watch. I'm so sorry.
So that's
sorry to who made that movie. Sorry,
and that is just to clarify. That is I'll always remember what you did last summer.
They're just happy we're talking about it right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'll always have a problem with this movie. 4. I'm sorry. My next place is the 4th one. The latest one.
Yeah, so 2025.
Yeah. I wish I know this is kind of like a tired point. Like we've all had this conversation, but I wish they didn't do the whole like the same title of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a fan of it.
I don't like it.
With Scream either. I'm not a fan
with
of
any of them.
Yeah.
Halloween, Scream,
just
this one.
Call it something else.
Yeah.
They could have butchered the language so much more than they did.
Right? Like what could they have called it? Like
I've thought about what you did last summer. I slept on what you did last summer.
I randomly remembered what you did last summer.
But I feel like that would sell more tickets. Honestly.
It would be funny, but we're really going camp here. You know what I mean?
It makes it seem like a remake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, it's
remember
weird.
last summer? Me too.
I mean, like even at least Final Destination was Final Destination Bloodlines, and that actually tied into what the movie was about. Yes, great idea.
Yeah.
Or they'll do. There was that one era where every sequel or Lego sequel was just given a the Predator or
the Fast and the Furious.
I always know. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I mean,
I don't know
with Saw, we at least got Jigsaw, which wasn't even a remake. It was just not even really. But even that's like enough for you to be like, all right, it's a different title.
We know where we're at.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
Or how about I Know What You Did Last Spring? Like, let's change the season.
I Know What You Did Last winter.
Last winter.
Come on. I've always wanted a Christmas
You Did Last
horror.
fall, and then expand, and then you get like even more tangential. And I Know What You Did Last Labor Day, and I Know What You Did last
Labor Day needs more movies. Okay, let's just say that.
I like this.
Yeah, this franchise can keep going, and because I feel like holiday horror is like usually a pretty big hit, successful. So it is. It's like it's an endless gold mine.
Last Groundhog's Day.
We'll see. Laron, we've talked.
Oh, that's great because they wouldn't remember because it's played by the Groundhog.
Laron, what was it? We had this conversation about a movie recently. I'm totally drawing a blank. So many conversations, but it's like just do the same premise in a different setting. Just don't reinvent the wheel. Just same premise, different setting. It makes it way more fun.
Yes,
like, you know what I mean? It makes a big difference. You're onto something there, Danny.
Yep. And it takes it away from the comparisons of the other.
Yes.
I think it was. I think it actually was Final Destination, because before we saw Bloodlines and we're like, actually, this is good. But I think it was like, let's replace this premise, but like do it in like medieval times or something.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Like, all of a sudden you have these sharp whatever. I don't know what. Like that would be a fun, like, like a.
They had all kinds of torture devices.
Yes,
back
exactly.
Then.
So like the guillotine. Come on, there's so many fun things you could do with that.
I know what thou did last summer. That's how you get into like the title. Yeah, we're getting somewhere. We got as far as our ranking.
Ye old.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, we're available for hire. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
We're title makers. That's all we do. But no, I would rank from worst to best 3. I'm calling it. I wrote 4, but I think we know. But I'm referring to this one.
Yes.
So for listeners, his ranking is as follows. Number 4 is I'll always know what you did last summer. Mm-hmm. Then number 3 is I know what you did last summer, parentheses 2025.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. And then in my second is I Still Know. I rewatched that for the first time. And it had been a while, and I actually had a lot of fun with it. It's very much like that era sequel, but in terms of just like, I thought it looked really nice. Like, it was like a good looking movie. It was really fun to see all these, the new characters. I love Brandy. Yeah. And then just like, who's the guy from, is it Jeffrey Combs?
Jeffrey Combs, yeah.
Reanimator. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like seeing these little cameos
John
was really
Hawk,
fun.
John Hawk, yeah. I was rewatching. I was like, wait, is that? I literally did the.
You were texting me while you were rewatching.
Like with my wife, I was like, "Is that?" I was like, "No, there's no way that's." And I looked up. Oh my god, it's baby John Hawks.
He looks.
I thought he only looked like he was 50 his whole life. Okay.
But yeah, it honestly has like some pretty gruesome kills too. And then obviously that leaves only the original as my number 1 spot. I love that movie. Is it perfect? No, but it's perfect for how I'm measuring it by my weird standards that have like evolved since the first time.
Since last summer.
Since last summer.
All right. Well, that is Danny's ranking. Kirsten Therkelson, of the entries you've seen, how would you rank these movies?
Okay, so I haven't seen the third one, so I don't have that as
a reference point.
Yeah, but and don't cancel me for this. This is based exclusively on the fact that I have not revisited the first 2, so I'm going based off of my memory of them. I'm gonna go ahead and say I Still Know What You Did. 3rd place on the basis that I can't really remember most of it. I mean, it was pretty forgettable to me. Don't cancel me. I love Brandy too.
She's fun in it. I mean, there's that.
It's more
she has
as forgettable as it is, because I do agree.
Sure.
It does have a lot of really fun stuff in it. I will say it honestly is a lot.
I may redact my opinion if I revisit.
Oh, I'm not here to persuade you. Sure. I will say though, after watching that one and watching this one, I was expecting this one to go way sillier, because actually, I Still Know What You Did is a lot sillier than number 3. Actually, yeah.
I would say it is campier for sure than what we're watching.
Okay, okay, interesting.
So fair ranking though. I appreciate it.
I'll say I'll Still Know What You Did Last Summer. 3rd place, 2nd place, I Know What You Did Last Summer, parentheses 2025. 1st place, I Know What You Did Last Summer, parentheses 1997.
7? Sounds right. Yeah.
Okay. Because, I mean, at least, I don't know, at least that one set up the whole universe, and I think it comes from a place of earnest trying, and maybe, maybe I'm misreading that, but I think, it's still just a 90s teen slasher that is doing the best that it can to really set up a scary universe of imagine what if this happened to you, isn't that a nightmare?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair rankings. Laron Chapman. I'm interested to see how it stacks up against yours.
Honestly, it's the exact same as Danny's. The worst is the worst. The best is the best. The first, and then I like them in sequential order until you get to I'll Always Remember. Yeah. Whatever that one was. I do find the second one like a shitastically fun, campy time. I do think that there are things that are egregiously bad in that one that are so funny in retrospect. And I do think that it's fun that Brandy, they hired a black co-lead in that one, and that she doesn't die. That was a rare thing that just
subverting the expectations.
Just didn't happen back then. But I later found on the tour that she's like, it was in my contract. I was like, oh, that's less fun now. I thought it was
That's how you do it. That's how you do it,
the
LeBron.
writers said that, we're just going to, but actually she's like, you can't kill me. And so
she inadvertently saved the script in that way.
She said yes. So I appreciated that. I thought she added a nice, I hate to say urban flair because that sounds very, problematic. But in the same way that like Scream 2 has like Jada Pinkett Smith and Omar Epps, like, I liked having characters that just aren't across the board white. You know what I mean? Like,
a little bit of color.
A little bit of color. It added some flair.
I mean that the right way, some flavor.
Yeah, I love both of the openings to Scream for different reasons. And, that there's something specifically relatable about Scream 2 because of the fact that they're satirizing black tropes in horror films. And so, in the 90s when Brandy was a big deal music-wise, I'm going to see her on tour in December. It's just, thank you so much. I'm very excited. No, but I feel like, that's the correct order. It's just, we don't really acknowledge the straight to DVD one, but of the other three, down the ticket.
So again, listeners who are writing this down, it is I'll Always Remember the straight to DVD, followed by I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. No, the third one. Sorry, this new one, 2025. Mm-hmm. Then I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And number one is I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're not acknowledging that really amazing chase scene in the first one, that between Sarah Michelle Gellar and the fisherman.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
It's a strong, it predates the Scream 2 Gale one, I believe. So, and it does get referenced a lot when we look at like best chase scenes in 90s slashers, and it always comes up.
Okay.
So, but
that's fun fact I did not know that it was so beloved. I have the same ranking as Kirsten, and I also have not seen the straight to DVD movie. So, again,
you're all getting it as a stocking stuffer.
And that is I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, followed at number 3. Number 2 is Legacy Sequel 2025, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and then the 1997 original, number 1. But honestly, that it's meaningless because I think they're all not that great. I will say, thing about I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and maybe after I get some distance, it'll move up to like the top one, because I will say, I'm not saying it's good, it's terrible. But what sticks out is, now that I've re-seen it, I think it's got a more larger impression. It is the most 90s thing I've seen. They go to the freaking Bahamas, and I was literally telling my wife, I'm like, oh yeah, we got served a lot of stuff about the Bahamas. There must have been some sort of tax incentive or something in the 90s. I remember getting constantly marketed about people going to the Bahamas, and then they go to the Bahamas in the movie. It felt very, very 90s in all the ways.
The Visit the Bahamas tourism department had a big budget that year.
Huge budget that year, for real. And it's doing something different. Is it kind of a disaster? Yeah. Yeah, it is. Jack Black's dreads, not cool, but kind of funny, kind of memorable. All right, listeners. Well, there you have it. There's our rankings. We have spent a pleasantly surprising amount of time in the spoiler-free section, so we'll have a shorter spoiler discussion. So if you do not want to be spoiled on I Know What You Did Last Summer, go ahead and tune out now.
And the real identity of Ned is... Ow. Ned.
I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for those meddling punks and their dumb dog!
Full spoilers, everyone. And the hooked killers are... At the end of the film, it's revealed that Stevie, played by Sarah Pigeon, is the killer, getting revenge on the group for covering up the death of her boyfriend, who, when he died, she didn't realize it was her boyfriend who drove off the cliff. It's also revealed that Ray, Freddie Prinze Jr., that's right, one of the OGs, had been helping her carry out the murders justified less interestingly by the promise to Stevie's parents, but way more potentially compellingly, but not actually explored in a meaningful way, his resentment towards Southport for gentrifying and trying to erase the town's history.
Full agree. Huge missed opportunity.
Like, that was the one thing I was like, there's a there. And he even talks about it, but I'm like, no, dog, you guys are sitting on something here that could be interesting. How effectively do we feel like this film set up the mystery? And also, I have to say, it's not that gruesome, guys. I mean, in terms of horror movies, it's a tragedy. Yes,
yeah.
You guys were drunk and in the street, but that guy swerved, drove off the cliff. Tragic.
Yeah.
But by horror movie standards, gruesome, I don't know. Feels a little bit over the top to say it's gruesome. But how did you guys feel about how that set up the mystery? Because that is probably my favorite component to this movie is the whodunit.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, I liked the setup. I thought it was really interesting the way that they subverted expectations. With it being like did they hit somebody? And then it's just like, oh no, they didn't actually hit somebody. They're just being dumb idiots. Yeah. In the middle of the street. That the movie still had me at that point. I'll say. I thought it was pretty successful.
Laron, did it get its hooks in you?
The setup, yes. The payoff I have issues with, in terms of where this ultimately lands. I'm fine with where it lands, but I feel like there's some pieces missing to make that land harder.
Like a lot of pieces.
I mean, if we're gonna go there, I'm happy they went there. I appreciate the swing. Like, okay, you did something.
Well, fine. Let's just jump into it. Yeah. And Danny, I want to give Danny space to talk about this as well, so we collaborate. But Freddie Prinze Jr. is the killer, right? So that's
sorry for all you teen heartthrobs. Like, your guy's the bad guy,
old grizzled guy. And you know what? I actually, and again, maybe this is me getting old and grizzled. I'm like, well, I kind of don't blame him.
Yeah,
a little bit. I mean, trying to kill Jennifer Love Hewitt or kill people in general, probably not great, but I kind of see the resentment. You're like, hey, our town is built upon murders and rich white people covering up dead bodies. Like, that's pretty bad. And they just try to pretend it didn't happen. Gentrification.
Yeah. No, and I also think that it's funny because in the first one, he's all but like the person that they're so much suspecting,
right?
Of the person who did it, like, where was Ray all this time? Where's, it's just kind of like, so it's like, she took that little kernel from that. She's like, let's just do it. He did it. Like, maybe 25 years later, he did it, so I like the swing. I think that's fun. I'm like, that's different. I mean, that's going to anger some people.
Kind of did what we had speculated Scream would do in one of the sequels, that one of the OG cast
that they don't have, that they just can't.
They can't do it.
No, because they're too afraid of the backlash on that, and there would be. And they did it, and that's why I said this is kind of like what this franchise is. It's like, it's pliable because there's not like this like robust like group of people who are just like clamoring for this to keep existing. So they're like, let's just try the things that other franchises won't do. And they did it here. I just wish I wish the setup was stronger. The setup and payoff was stronger in that regard. I like that they did it, but there were a couple more conversations and scenes that needed to happen for me to be like, okay,
Danny, what was your take here? How did you like the setup and the mystery, and did you what did you think of the payoff, the reveals?
Yeah, so the thing with me is the biggest issue that I had with the movie was the whole mystery element, because I feel like we didn't get enough questions to kind of kick everything off. So then I didn't know like what we were even solving. I was like, oh, okay, so someone died, but they weren't presenting us with a lot of information, or like even who, at least from what I remember, like I think they say a name of who died in the car, but there was no like threads being drawn. There was nothing. It was kind of just like we were learning what characters were learning, but they were just kind of learning little like it didn't feel consequential or substantial. So until like the last 15 minutes. So it was hard for me to like, I guess like get hooked into like into the mystery, because I didn't know, like, I was like, what are we solving? Like, I don't know. Like, there's just, I feel like in the first movie, even though it does get a little like the mystery, then the storytelling gets a little busy, I guess. And you're like, wait, what? He's this, and then he's related to her, and
surprisingly convoluted, actually, I'd say.
Yeah, it's surprisingly convoluted. But this one, like, I almost would have preferred that. Like, I would have liked to have my head spinning of like, They even reference Scooby-Doo, and I'm like, honey, like, no, we are not referencing Scooby-Doo if you are not going to act like members. You can't just ask a question or be like, who do we think did it? That's not solving a mystery.
Yeah.
Solving a mystery is like truly like, I don't know. I just was pretty disappointed. And then just like in terms of like what the payoff is with Ray being the killer, I love a big swing. Like, I think it's so fun, and I agree about like the Scream franchise. Like, maybe they should go a little bolder, but I just don't believe it. Like, this isn't Ray. Like, I get that they try to build up this idea of like what trauma does to someone over the years, but the fact is like Ray didn't really like the people who died in the first movie. They kind of set that up that he is an outsider. Like, that's not to say you can't be traumatized by it, but we saw how he dealt with it. You know, he was very heroic. He also would never hurt Julie. That has been established. It wouldn't even cross his mind. He spent 2 movies doing everything he can to right his, you know, he was the red herring. He did everything to prove that he wasn't. We also find out, spoiler alert for the first movie, that he's a sweetheart. He goes out of his way to track down a family member of the victim just to comfort her, like without any other motivation other than to be kind. And then, like Laron, you were talking about part 2, he goes to like on an epic quest, basically to
the Bahamas.
save Julie. He would never do what he does in this movie. It is so far from believability that it took me so out of the movie that I was like, oh, not canon. Sorry. I'm going to be the toxic fan from Scream 5 and just be like, that's not real. Like,
not my Ray.
Not my Ray.
That's not my Ray. Like,
barely justify it.
So barely. Yeah.
She makes a comment about trauma.
Also, he
has
leaves a frame of Helen. We're supposed to believe that he leaves a framed picture of Helen at her grave.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Why? Like,
It was actually me. I left that there.
Yeah, no, I think that's the thing with Kirsten. I mean, it didn't really, I didn't feel like they had really done the work.
They barely even tried.
It's like he's saying words, but we're like, that's all. It's
it felt like, okay, well, who do we have with us attached to this project from the last movie? Okay, Jennifer Love Hewitt. Well, we can't make it that she did it. Maybe that's more interesting. Honestly.
That would be more
That's
interesting.
actually where I thought they were going to go with this.
too.
I kept thinking she's setting up that trauma changes you. I'm like, oh, are we getting ready to get a Julie? Like, I'm sorry, guys, I went mad and I'm doing it now. I'm the mastermind.
I'm actually upset at this town for traumatizing me as a youth.
That's going full camp.
I've
also been a sociopath this whole time.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be Ray and Julie.
why
And
I
I thought
went
when
into
he came to the
psychology.
house,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
going to be like a midpoint twist.
Oh, that would have been even more interesting. It's both
we're just
of them.
finding out that they're the killers, like not even at the end, and we're just going to follow them.
That would have been...
See, that would have been crazy if you find out in that scene where they talk that they're actually the killers. See, that would have been a swing.
Much more fun.
That's the piece we needed. It's definitely like we both are upset about the gentrification of this, and we have coordinated this entire thing together. We got these
and they're in it
kids
together, so it's not like Ray going rogue and just being all bitter and stuff. I mean,
We learned about this group of kids that's committed an act of affluenza, and we're going to take them down one by one.
Would have even been cool if they survived it at the end. They do a little nod off like we did that. Yeah. Now our legacy continues. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I just I'm so frustrated because going back, I do feel like there is the nugget of where I resent this town for trying to, forget about us. That is a real thing that has happened to people in this country. People who stay in small towns and resent everyone else for moving on and then trying to come back and redo their town to be something it never was. Like, that's a real thing. And I'm not saying I want a serious version of that, but I'm like, if there is an idea or a motive that could justify good people like Ray to turn, that's an angle. This movie just does none of the legwork to convince me that like it's driven him to that point. It's just like, oh yeah. Yep, I was traumatized, and now I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah,
give me my $1 million so I can go start Reddit Federation.
And there were pieces like in the first one where like when the actual incident happens, then there's the guy that's, I can't remember the actor, but whatever, he's Galecki or something like that. I think is his last name.
Jared Galecki. Yeah.
So he comes in, he drives by after the incident, and they're like, oh yeah, nothing to see here, keep going. There's this kind of like, okay, so maybe he saw. You know what I mean? Like, even when they're asking those questions, like maybe someone saw, no one was fucking there. So like, I mean, no, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't even set up like someone in the distance walking past or something to like give you an idea that somebody.
Well, that was why I guess I figured out pretty quickly it was Stevie because you're like, okay, well, there was no one who saw it. And she was the one who didn't, she was kind of on the line about going with them anyway. And she was all like, I just got my life back together. And then this awful thing happened that my assumption was it spiraled her into some sort of relapse, which is not necessarily what happened. But I was like, okay, because she was the only one that made sense to me. Like, and then you get the scene later where Ray's like, I told your dad or with mom or whoever it was. I told her I'd take care of you. I was like, okay, is he in on it? But then I was skeptical because I just felt like they weren't doing the legwork for it. Right. So it was like, it can't be him.
Well, they should have given everyone like a motive. You know, if there were no passersby and it was just this group, like make everyone really suspicious.
Yes.
Be like, I could totally see why so-and-so did that. And then just flip it at the end and have it something stupid.
Yeah. Like have them turn on each other almost, you know?
Yeah. We should have known that was Stevie's boyfriend in the car. And that should not have been the reveal. Like, that's it. Like, let us know, like, holy shit, she should be the killer. But that should be misdirection. Like, that is a misdirection twist. That is not a twist. That's just a fact that anyone could have figured out if they had done even a morsel of research.
See, and here's the thing. I don't, especially as a film critic podcaster, I'm not the people making the movie. I'm not writing the checks. I'm just here. I don't like to, I guess it's a long way of saying it's like, I don't like to armchair make a movie. Okay. But damn, I guess that's my point is this movie was so boring. It's like right here, we just spun up like 10 other ideas that are like at least interesting. More
compelling films, yeah.
And I guess that's the thing. I felt like if there was like if it was had even like one or two things strong enough for me to be like, yeah, I wouldn't be like, well, they could have done this or they could have done that. But the fact for me, that's like we have reached a point where this is so bland that all we can do is like, whoa, of course, if we did this differently, it would be fun. I don't know.
Well, and you brought up the podcasting character before, and speaking of, making people more suspicious. I mean, how long? It played by Gabriette, by the way, fashion model. I think this is like one of her only film credits.
She was great, by the way.
Yeah, she's funny. I could fix Tyler. But and then okay. Well, I guess now she's just gone for the rest of the movie. They dispatch of her so quickly. It's like such a missed opportunity. I think they only had her for like 2 filming days. I don't know.
That's what it sounds like. But I also hope that what they were going to do with that character was like they're such a fan girl that to the point where like when the fisherman comes out, it's like, oh my god, hi, like she's gonna be like excited to see the person. Like she just completely derails like her entire motivation. But again, that's something that made me laugh. I was like, okay, so we're literally just everything I think is gonna happen is not gonna happen because this is not ever gonna be as clever as it wants to be. Like,
and again, that's another area where there's 2 different ways to slice it. One is like the, oh my gosh, I'm surprised like she was, but you got to play it way bigger to be like, oh, see, podcasters actually suck. They're very exploitative. You gotta have that angle, or you do the fangirl angle, which is like, oh my god, I'm meeting this guy. Like there's ways. But it kind of like it landed like a middling, like which one is she right now? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, they and to the point of the whole generational trauma and the gentrification of the town and everything. It's like, okay, well, the world is like changed in so many ways and everything, and like now you've got people who are doing like murder tourism and anything, and then it doesn't really do anything to condemn that, I feel like. No. I mean, it pokes a little bit of fun at it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, guys, does anyone else have anything specific you want to say about this movie? Because I have a couple more questions, but I just want to make sure we've gotten it all off our chest. I mean,
I think I've said things.
Laron, have you been cleansed? Do you feel catharsis?
I've gotten catharsis. I've said my piece.
Can anybody explain where the cage that falls from the ceiling comes from?
Nope, sure can't.
My God,
sure can't.
Talk about Scooby-Doo. Like
what
hilarious
is the mousetrap cage? The rusty mousetrap cage that is somehow suspended from the ceiling that falls.
That they left up in this notoriously dangerous building.
And what is it used for? Like, who is it? I mean, not besides trapping humans.
Why? How? Yeah, what is that cage, actually?
And how heavy could it possibly be?
It seemed really heavy.
Yeah. Guys, I let you all down, and I let the listeners down. I failed to bring a fisherman onto this podcast to explain to me why that cage exists.
It's for rodents, guys. It's for rodents.
For rodents. Well,
it looks like a bird cage. Human-sized.
It does. It's human-sized, but you could also open it just by pulling the pins out. Like, what?
So funny.
That's all I wanted to ask.
No, it's a valid question. In fact, I laid at night at least one losing sleep over that question myself. So, speaking of the Scooby-Doo nature of it all, I want to close up the conversation just by talking to Danny first, but all of us. Danny, on your show, you guys often beg the question, who was the real monster all along? So I'll start with you, Danny. Who was the real monster in I Know What You Did Last Summer?
So I have one. It's product placement. The amount of Tostitos and Doritos that were so prominently displayed in several scenes. It was genuinely, literally enough to take me out of the movie. I was like, oh, because there is like and maybe this is just like a modern filmmaking thing, and I'm just rewatching so many old movies, but the movie feels very like clean and crisp.
Mm-hmm.
So there were moments when a character would kind of just present a bag of chips. I was like, oh, I feel like I'm literally watching a commercial for this. So yeah, product placement, and also just as like an unofficial real monster, I would say saying to someone whose fiance literally just died not hours earlier, yeah, but you're like a hot widow.
Those are the moments that are kind of funny, though.
When she said that, she was like, "Yeah, but you're a hot widow," and she was like, "I thought it was implied." She's like through the tears. I'm like, okay, so
I got a good laugh out of the I killed your fiance. Which one?
Okay, and also there was a line that Julie said whenever she was like, "Oh, sorry," she's like, "I was waiting. I was expecting someone to murder me. This is actually worse," and it's because he's at the door. Her ex. I found that amusing, but
that is good.
Product placement, Laron.
Mm-hmm.
What was the monster?
The monster for me here is
pulling the mask off.
Yes, pulling the mask off. The real monster here is an idea, and it's gentrification. I feel like that is the monster. That is the impetus for this entire thing. Like, I mean, would Ray even like be involved in this and like abandon all of his character motives from the last two movies if the town hadn't just forgotten poor old Ray and Julie's, slasher murder spree of 1997? Like, if we had dealt with that, and it's the real monster in real life, and it's the real monster here. So,
what's crazy about this is, and maybe I'm overreading and misreading it, but like, it almost sounds like the villain is the person who doesn't like gentrification. Like, I'm curious, like, what are we saying in this movie? Like, he's the bad guy? Wouldn't it be the opposite? It's a weird message to walk out of this movie with.
Yes.
I agree. I think it's kind of deeply problematic.
Like, you terrible. Deal with it. Things are changing.
It's actually fine. But,
the text of the text of the movie, you're saying that gentrification is the problem, but then your killer is anti-gentrification. Therefore, gentrification good. Kirsten Therkelson. Who was the monster?
I'm so sorry. I think that the real monster in this movie is the score.
Yikes.
I think the music is pretty bad. I think that the stings, how loud, and maybe it's the mixing, actually. I mean, who's to say? But it's so loud and jarring that it's... So some friends of mine back in college, whenever we were all first really getting into like film review and like reading film and things like that, rubber duckies. So in horror, if something pops out and there's such a loud sting that goes along with it that it's going to startle you, and that could be anything that's like popping up on the screen, right? It's going to startle you no matter what. It doesn't matter. It like sort of takes the work out of, having a good scare. And this film is so full of rubber duckies because there's so many obnoxiously loud musical stings that I'm just like, what are we doing here? I can't even tell if I'm actually scared by any of this. It's just loud.
It's startling.
It's startling. I'm startled.
I'm startled. Am I scared?
Startled.
Am I scared?
No, not really.
I don't have anything to add. You guys have said all the good ones. I mean, the real villain... capitalism, that's not really original. Gentrification, that's not original. But also,
that's like a running thing in our podcast. Is we're like, guys, like capitalism, the real monster, as usual. So
truly.
I would say property investors are probably the real monster. I guess to be more specific, not gentrification. It's what's the rich kid's dad. He's the. I mean, and the movie kind of makes him out to be, but property investors jacking up the prices for all the people who live there, and making it a worse place for those people. Real problem in America. Real problem in the movie.
Yep.
So, yeah, not very original,
True.
but,
it's there.
It's a classic. Okay. Wrap us up. Which of the hooked killers in the 3 movies stands the best chance of winning in a fight? They all have hooks, and I guess in this case there's 2 hooked killers. I guess there's mostly 2 killers. Mostly, yeah. Who has the best chance of winning in a fight?
I think Ben Willis for sure. The original, the OG. Yeah, he was the most menacing. Actually, a scary villain until we get to the second movie where it does go.
He goes. All of a sudden he has a very thick.
Yeah, exactly. The first time the ominousness of him was actually frightening. But yeah.
He did not. I'm not crazy. He didn't have that accent in the first one, right?
No, he adopted it in the second one. Yeah.
So bad. Danny, who's gonna win your fight?
So, Laron, I agree with you. I do love him, but I would say Daddy Willis from the first movie he's like the kind of guy who's got he's seen some shit, but we have already seen Ray kick his ass a couple times, I think,
twice,
right, in the second one.
Right.
So as much as I hate to recognize Ray as evil, I would say Ray.
I mean, old grizzled Ray looks about as grizzled as the guy.
Tough.
He's got a little bass in his voice.
And just some of the movement of the killer in this one was pretty aggressive and pretty intense.
What was it
so
when
as much as I love the first one? Yeah, Ray.
She get the shit kicked out of him. I assume it was Ray because I was like, "There's no way that Stevie could withstand that guy beating the shit out of him." You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Kirsten?
Okay, I'm so glad that you ended on that because I'm gonna go ahead and say Stevie. Okay, hear me out. She's tall. She's got reach.
Yep.
She gets out unscathed. Now, Freddie Prinze Jr., he catches, he gets stabbed with? What does he get stabbed with? Is it an arrow? I can't remember.
It's the harpoon thing, right?
He catches...
Oh, yeah.
He catches some injury. Stevie makes it out unscathed. She's quick.
Mm-hmm.
She's wily.
Yep.
She can get out of it, And
driven. She's
very driven. Isn't it also...
I was going to say, she's got, honestly, one of the better motivations.
And I think, definitely.
Yeah, her monologue was actually pretty good. I felt like, with the little bit of breadcrumbs that makes sense of her motive, she delivers it very well.
And again, she's you're at least suspicious of her. You're like,
she's the outsider.
She is the outsider. Okay. You make a pretty good case, actually. Yeah. Because she's still out there. The other ones are all dead.
Yeah, she's still alive. And I love how casually they mention that. Stevie's still alive. You mean the woman that's trying to murder you? That's a problem.
You should worry about that more, actually.
Let's just talk over tea. We should probably kill her. Yeah. Credits.
They basically just said, Stevie's going to be back in the sequel, right?
Also, wait. Again, they always end on a jump scare in the first 2. I love how in this one they're like, nah, we're just gonna go. It's just over.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Real last thing. Laron, what the hell with that post-credit sequence, man? I was like, after I watched this movie, I was really bored, and I was like, why did I do this to myself? Why did we do this? And then they come with that, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So Stevie's going to be out for Jennifer Love Hewitt now?
It sounds like it. And it sounds like Brandy and her are going to team up for I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And maybe that one will give you all the...
It's going to feel like a Real Housewives episode. It's going to feel like...
We're not going to make it.
Surely not.
No, this one didn't make enough money.
Stevie, though.
Huh?
What if they go a different route and where the misdirection there is that it's just a different killer for different reasons?
Yeah, copycat.
Yeah.
Do we think it's definitely Stevie? Because I'm trying to think now, what? I don't even remember now. Why did Stevie? She's not coming for Julie?
Stevie
right?
is not coming for Julie now.
No, she was coming for the other.
She might be coming for him now or for her now because of Ray dead, but that's not that interesting.
But it felt so specific to come for
Carla.
What's Brandy's Carla?
Carla, yeah.
Right.
Had a big X on her face. I'm like, what is she?
Well, that's what was crazy.
Brandy's just watching the news with her new man who's serving her wine. What did she do? Why are we bringing her in? I have to keep my name out of it.
Audibly groaned. I was like, oh. That's when I was like, this movie, as much as this one wasn't for me, it is super not for me. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you had a moment.
Oh, I was going to say that was my favorite scene in the movie, but my favorite scene was the dream sequence.
We didn't talk about
we didn't talk about the dream sequence.
Yeah.
Okay, dream sequence was the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, fully agree.
Yes. Oh my god!
I audibly gay gasped when my teen idol from Cruel Intentions and all the
she was
90s
on the shirt.
Scream 2, I was like, okay, we really did bring her back, because everyone always argued that she was a more interesting final girl than Jennifer Love Hewitt, and she should have survived
and
the first one.
Unlike Freddie Prinze Jr., she looks exactly the same to a frightening degree.
She was so much smarter too in the first one. It's like, why is she dying? Julie's making all the bad decisions, and she's literally doing all the right things, and she has to get murdered.
Helen has like a real arc. I feel like she's
in the first one for sure.
As one person, and she becomes someone else, and you see her like just like at her. We also see like more of her home life too, like with her relationship with her sister.
I love your Letterboxd review of that. You were like, the only thing that's unbelievable about this is that she gave a shit that her shitty sister died. It was like, because she's such a bitch in the first one. You're like, oh my God, an insufferable person. Like, but
it's called glass. It breaks.
That was also the only cameo that was actually like kept a secret for me. That reveal was as soon as you're in Danica's dream sequence and you see the blonde from the back, I was just like,
are they doing it?
Are they doing it?
And when she turned around, I was like,
I was like,
gagged.
That's when I was like, all right, I don't know what the hell is going on. And I was really hoping that's what the movie's like, no, we're just going for it.
And she stood by the whole tour. Everyone who asked her, like, are you coming back? She's like, guys, I'm dead.
She like made people feel stupid, which made it like.
And she was like being so condescending about it. Like, okay, sorry, we just really love you, and just thought whatever. And she's like, she's literally in it. She's like, wink, wink. I'm in it, but I'm dead. You know,
I'm dead.
So
great stuff.
I'm literally doing.
She made a post about
Buffy rewatch right now, so it was like I feel like I've just been surrounded by SMG. So to see her pop up, I was like, yes. I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Can we get her more things? Can we get her more things? Again, she's so great.
Why do we kill her and everything? Killed her in Scream 2. It's like give her own like final girl moment, you know, because she's Buffy. She could do it, you know.
I mean, she is going to be back for the Buffy reboot. Which
this is true.
When is that happening?
I don't know. They just had their first table read, I think, like yesterday.
Oh, they had a table read. Okay, so it is happening. Okay, all right. Yeah. That's when I start to believe that might actually happen. There's people sitting at a table reading lines. Okay.
Well, I'm glad you caught that. The dream sequence was a lot of fun. It's an egregious callback, but it's one we were not expecting.
No, but in that whole sequence, is they nail the dreamy, like mystical vibe. Like that was where I was like,
where are we
this
going?
is a cool moment. I hope they have maintained the momentum, and they do not. But it was a cool moment.
I do think the moment that she descends into a ghoulish, ghosty kind of thing.
So good.
I feel like that is definitely a callback to the I'll always remember, because the whole thing is he's a ghostly figure. So that feels like the one nod she gave to that. She's like, I'm synthesizing all these things haphazardly, but
who's targeting Brandy? Maybe it's the ghost of Sarah Michelle Gellar, the killer in the next movie.
That's the only way I can possibly give a shit is you're like, now we're going supernatural ghosts.
Yeah. That's it though, and she's mad at Carla because she replaced her
best
Helen
friend
as the best friend. So she's like, I'm coming for you. Oh my god, I would
back on board.
Motivated to invest more time. Well, everyone. This has been such a fun time. We talked for almost 2 hours about this movie. Wow. That's an impressive amount of time.
We talked about the length of this movie.
Yes.
About this movie.
And I'm not here to pat myself on the back, but I'd argue it was probably more entertaining than the movie itself. Okay. Well, hey, this has been so much fun. Danny, Kirsten, Laron, always appreciate you having you. Danny, where can people follow you and all the cool things you're doing at How I Met Your Monster?
You can just follow me. It's just my name. It's either going to be Danny Salemme or Danny Salemme Miller on Letterboxd, Instagram, and Blue Sky. And you can also follow our podcast, How I Met Your Monster, also on those things. We're also on Patreon. We just started our Patreon this year. So if you're interested, we're dropping some commentary, some bonus episodes and stuff like that. So the door is wide open. So follow us. And if you like movie monsters, which if you're listening to this episode, I'm guessing maybe you do.
At least have some morbid curiosity in the horror. Check it out, folks. It's a great show, fun time, very, very, very well read, insightful, entertaining host to listen to. Kirsten Therkelson, where can people follow you online?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at gothcomic, GOTHCOMIC, and you can follow me for all the cool stuff that I'm doing around town. You can find my reviews on Letterboxd at Cranston. That's KRANSTIN. And when I say reviews, I'm saying that very generously. It is mostly single sentence.
They're usually very funny, though. I usually
Oh,
chuckle at almost all your reviews. I'm like,
I wish I had the self-discipline because I could write a really funny one-liner, but I have to go into the pretentious side of me.
Laron's like, I have to write.
I have to write 3 paragraphs. I'm sorry. Like it's a mini review, but it's still. But people who do it, I'm like, I respect you guys.
I'm not on Twitter anymore, and that's usually where I was doing my dumb little one-liners.
Yes. Yeah.
So I've just basically put all
Keeping
of that
it alive.
content on Letterboxd instead.
And what I love about them is that sometimes I may not even know the full context of whether you like this movie or not. It doesn't matter. It's just a fun line that I get the reference and I think it's funny and it's whatever. So
It's very clever.
Yes, Danny, you do this as well. You do this very well with your one.
Not that well, but yeah.
Yes.
Great follows, listeners, on Letterboxd. Thank you. Laron Chapman, where can people follow you online?
They can follow my mini reviews on Letterboxd at black_Cine_man. And I'm long overdue for putting some more content on my film column on the Cinematropolis, Real Insights with Laron Chapman. But now that I am not saddled with a lot of movie prospects here in the state, I'll have more time to do some more writing. So I hope to catch up on that coming up this next month.
Yay for people who like your film criticism. That's a win. I can't say the same about your work.
Don't trust me. Don't trust me on movies like this because these are like my biased babies.
Yeah,
yes,
totally.
I promise. Like as much as I'm going against, we sat there and shat on Jurassic World and talk. Oh, these egregious reboots. I can't wait for I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah. It
wait a
was funny how we did that, and I was like, all right, we're reviewing Superman, which Caleb was through the roof about, and Laron's like, and then I Know What You Did Last Summer after that. Oh, I can't wait.
Can't wait. It's like, didn't you just cool?
Yeah,
bro.
we did.
Cool.
We did do that.
I fully acknowledge the absurdity and the hypocrisy.
I would argue. Well, no, I wouldn't fully argue that. It's a different podcast.
Yeah.
Listeners, you can follow me on all the things at C Masters Talk. That's letter C Masters Talk. Letterboxd most prominently. Prefer follows there. Also, Instagram's fun. I usually repost a lot of things. My wife has been doing a thing on Instagram now where she's been doing fun ratings and tagging me, and I just reshare them. We don't always agree 100%, but they're very clever. So I've been trying to reshare those. Those are fun.
I love her star ratings.
So funny. She still thinks about it for a while too.
That's so funny.
She just had one for Fantastic Four. She's like, "What do I do for Fantastic
The planets.
Four?" Yeah,
it's so funny.
Yeah, 3.5 consumed planets.
Consumed planets.
Yeah.
Out of 5.
Yeah. So, it's mostly my wife's content that I'm just resharing. And then occasionally I'll throw up, obviously, links to these reviews or my Letterboxd. Check it out there. TheCinematropolis.com, your home for thoughtful conversations on film. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be back next time to review more horror. Hopefully one that is really, really good that we are hotly anticipating. Weapons. Me either. Zach Kreger's next movie.
The last time I watched Barbarian was here.
Yeah, that was such a fun time, fun group. Listeners, we hope it's a fun time when we watch Weapons. Catch you again next time.